Motions for notice of motion for consideration of subsequent meeting. Councillor Hubley, if you'd like to introduce the motion, seconded by myself.
Could I get the motion put on the screen, please, Madam Clerk?
One moment, please.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, this is in respect to no charge service for transit customers in December. Whereas the two O train derailments have subjected Ottawa transit customers to significant service disruptions in August and September, whereas City Council recognizes the effect of these major disruptions on our transit customers, and whereas City Council wishes to rebuild consumer confidence in the system and encourage the use of transit services in Ottawa, and whereas transit can play an important role in supporting our local economy and job creation by connecting residents with small businesses and restaurants throughout the city, especially during the holiday season. Therefore, be it resolved that OC TRANSPO and TRANSPO customers, sorry, Mr. Mayor, I just got to get that part of my screen. Therefore, be it resolved that OC TRANSPO and TRANSPO provide customers with one full month of no charge transit service in December 2021, to be confirmed by the General Manager of Transportation Services following the resumption of service of the O Train Line 1. And be it further resolved, the foregone revenue for no charge transit service estimated at $7.1 million be funded from the anticipated funds from the financial and performance provisions in the project agreement with the Rideau Transit Group. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. That'll be debated at the next meeting. The next notice of motion is by Councillor McKenney and Councillor Meehan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Whereas on December 19th, 2012, Council voted unanimously in favor of awarding a $2.3 billion construction contract to the Rideau Transit Group, RTG, to build the city's east-west light rail transit, LRT system. And whereas in 2018 and 2019, RTG missed at least 4 deadlines to hand over the LRT system to the city. And whereas the LRT system was finally accepted by city staff and open to residents on September 14th, 2019. And whereas over the last 2 years, there have been numerous reliability issues and costly setbacks related to the city's LRT system, including problems with the automated doors, systems integration, electrical failures, switch heater failures, wheel issues, and brake problems, in addition to 2 derailments. And whereas, although City Council is exercising its right under the project agreement, much of that work is necessarily confidential to protect the city's interests. There is a legislative instrument in the Municipal Act 2001 that Council can use to provide itself and the public with a truly independent review that will determine what has happened with the city's much needed and very costly light rail system, and why, as well as what we as Council should do to ensure it doesn't happen again. And whereas Section 274 of the Municipal Act 2001 expressly provides a municipal council with the statutory authority to request by resolution that a judge of the Superior Court of Justice shall A, investigate any supposed breach of trust or other misconduct of a member of council, an employee of the municipality, or a person having a contract with the municipality in relation to the duties or obligations of that person to the municipality. B, inquire into any matter connected with the good government of the municipality. And or C, inquire into the conduct of any part of the public business of the municipality. And whereas the mandatory legal procedures to summon witnesses and to give evidence on oath or an affirmation of such a judicial inquiry are set out in Section 33 of the Public Inquiries Act 2009. And whereas the judge may engage legal counsel and other persons to assist in the investigation or inquiry. And whereas the council may hire legal counsel to represent the municipality. And whereas any person whose conduct is called into question in the investigation or inquiry may be represented by legal counsel. And whereas the judge shall report the results of the investigation or inquiry to the council as soon as practical. And whereas the residents of Ottawa both require and deserve to know the complete and unvarnished truth of how and why their Confederation Line LRT transit system is now the city's largest flawed capital project. Therefore, be it resolved that City Council approve the following. 1, that a judicial inquiry be formally requested to be conducted pursuant to Section 274 of the Municipal Act 2001, which authorizes a judge of the Superior Court of Justice to investigate or inquire into any matter regarding a supposed breach of trust or misconduct by a member of council, a city employee, or any person having a contract with the City of Ottawa, or to any matter connected to the good government or the conduct of any part of the city's public business. And 2, that the Honorable Jeffrey B. Morowitz, Chief Justice of the Superior Court of Ontario, be requested to designate a judge of the Superior Court of Justice for the statutory inquiry, and the judge so designated as the commissioner to be authorized to conduct the inquiry as follows. 1, or A, to obtain, bearing in mind the costs and principles of proportionality, all records and documents necessary to investigate and understand the following. 1, the facts and sequences of events from 2012 to the present regarding the approvals, development, costs, timelines, and operation of the city's LRT system. 2, the nature, extent, and application of the delegation of authority provided to city staff in all of these matters. B, having conducted the documentary and records review to determine what, if any, public hearings should be held into the matters designated for this inquiry. And be it further resolved that the terms of reference of the judicial inquiry shall include to inquire into all aspects of the LRT transit system as it relates to the good government of the municipality or the conduct of its public business, including any impacts, financial or otherwise, on the residents and taxpayers of the city. And be it further resolved that the judge, in conducting this inquiry, make any recommendations that they consider appropriate and in the public interest as a result of the inquiry. And be it further resolved that the judge, in conducting this inquiry, is empowered to ask any questions which they consider as necessary to obtain a complete understanding of these matters, including 1, did council maintain sufficient oversight of the LRT transit project? 2, was the delegation of authority provided by council to city staff appropriate? 3, did council receive sufficient independent expert advice on the LRT transit project, including the comprehensive procurement processes and any criteria or factors used? And 4, did those processes or criteria serve the public interest of the residents of the City of Ottawa? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Our next notice of motion is by Councillor Dean, seconded by Councillor Brockington. Councillor Deans, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just ask the clerk to put the motion on the screen. Okay, thank you. This motion pertains to the LRT maintenance contract, whereas 2 trains on the Confederation line have derailed in the last 6 weeks. Whereas the problems with cracked wheels and loose axle bearings on Confederation line trains have been the subject of investigation by the Transportation Safety Board. And whereas the Confederation line has experienced a series of problems since the Confederation line opened, with door jams, computer malfunctions, broken overhead wires, and issues with the catenary system causing service delays. And whereas the Rideau Transit Maintenance Group has a 30-year contract with the City of Ottawa to maintain the Confederation line. And whereas the Rideau Transit Group has failed to provide root cause analysis of the problems on the Confederation line, and whereas members of the public have lost confidence in Rideau Transit Maintenance ability to deliver on their maintenance contract, therefore, be it resolved that the city manager explore options to terminate the 30-year maintenance contract with Rideau Transit Maintenance and bring back a report to council outlining all implications of an early termination, including a full risk analysis for council's consideration. And therefore be it further resolved that staff review options for the future maintenance of the Confederation line, including the feasibility of developing an in-house maintenance team and provide a report back to council for information.
Okay, thank you. Any other notices of motion? Motion